over the last year, I've been making videos about learning British Sign Language. My last update video was 6 months ago when I talked about BSL 101, the first exam. And after that, I did a crazy thing where I did some signing for one of my running vlogs. So now it's time to bring things up to date, to talk about BSL 102 and 103, the other two exams that make up the first year of BSL Level 1, and also to talk about the future. So let's do that. So here we are, it is a lovely spring day, as you can see, and I am sat not far from the Deaf Club, about to go and take my BSL 102 assessment. I mean, if I don't know it now, I don't know it, frankly. So the only subject I'm not at all confident about is food and drink. I just hope that's not on the list. My nightmare scenario is that you've got food and drink on there, and then there's two topics that we haven't covered, because there was this weird thing where Signature, the exam body, kind of dropped in these subjects for 102, but we didn't really cover those in the course. We covered the 5 main subjects, and these other ones weren't really sort of mentioned. I can't even tell you what they were. So my absolute nightmare scenario is food and drink, and then 2 of those other subjects, because if I go in there, I might as well just turn around and walk back out again because I will not be passing. So there we are. It is what it is, and I'm going to go in now, give it my best shot, and I'll let you know how I think I got on the other side. Right, I'm back out the other side. Turn the windscreen wipers off. I'm back out the other side. And it wasn't really what I was expecting. I suppose in some ways I was expecting it to be a here are the subjects, talk about this subject, but what it actually was, the subjects that were listed, it was a little bit my worst case scenario, because the food and drink wasn't on there, but there were other subjects that kind of weren't what I was expecting. But I think what the examining board are actually trying to do is to come up with just kind of almost random subjects that you can shoehorn things into that you have learnt, if you see what I mean. So there might be something that you could introduce a little bit of food and drink, or hobbies, or your home, or whatever. So I ended up describing my house, I think, or parts of it. And then we ended up actually at one stage talking about favourite films, favourite film types, which is definitely a subject that I would rather not have got onto. My teacher kind of got onto that subject, and I was thinking, I don't want to talk about this. So, but luckily that was right at the end when we were about to finish, because the conversation can almost go in any direction and you need to be ready for it. So it was, I don't know whether I've passed. She seemed happy, my teacher, and she does this a lot. So it makes you think that if she was happy, then maybe that means that I've passed. But of course it's up to these people who do the examination, who actually do it. So we'll see. Anyway, that's the first exam done. And I've got another one in 2 weeks' time. So now I've got to go, there's no rest for the wicked. I've just got to go back and start learning my stuff for that one. Here we go. So it's a couple of weeks later now, and I'm about to go in and take BSL 103, which is the final sign language exam in the first year. So I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm okay, I think, but you know, it's difficult really, because you don't know quite what's going to come up. And also, being a conversation, you don't quite know what's going to happen in the conversation. That's certainly what happened when I took 102. It sort of went off on a kind of weird direction that I wasn't entirely expecting. And, you know, I think it went okay, but I don't really know, because it kind of wasn't really what I was anticipating. But that's not a criticism of anybody, of me or the teacher. It's just, that's what it's like, isn't it? That's just what can happen. So 103 could very well be the same. I've got in my mind the sort of things that I can say and introduce into the conversation, but, you know, I might not get that opportunity. It depends exactly how it kind of all pans out. So I'm about to go in there and see what happens. Back in the car, and I went in early and I came out after note. The 5 minutes absolutely flew by, and I did a subject, how the weather affects your travel, and I felt like I started off badly. I was just you know, I forgot my own name, frankly, and I was just all fingers and thumbs. But as the 5 minutes went on, I felt it got better. My teacher, she was really happy. She said it's fine. She was happy with it. So if she's happy, I'm happy. And it should be about 6 weeks or so before we get the results. And I will, of course, follow up on the channel talking about how I got on. And I've got to decide now whether to take the next year, the second year, and I'm really interested in doing that because I've really enjoyed this process, but we'll cover more about that in just a moment. Right, I'm just on my way to my very first BSL workshop. Well, I say my first. I did workshop in about February, March, no, it might have even been May 2020. And of course, during lockdown, that was via Zoom. And it was just a kind of introductory one. We went into a little Zoom room and somebody there taught us a few signs, and it was quite laid back. This is a workshop after I've completed my first year, still waiting to hear my results. And it's an in-person one, so I've got my clear face mask here with me, and I'm a little bit nervous because there's going to be lots of people there with lots of different abilities, and clearly I'm not going to really understand a lot of what's going on, but there's a certain expectation on me, having done a year's worth, that I should at least know something. So yeah, quite nervous about this, but anyway, it's a 3-hour session. I'm hoping I can find out a little bit more about BSL 102, BSL 2, see what that would be about and decide whether I'm going to do the second year. So anyway, let's get in there, it's about to start, and I'll tell you how I got on the other side. So I've just come out of the session of the workshop, and I was in a room with 4 other people plus the teacher. As the teacher was Steffi, who took the BSL 101 course, the BSL 1 course that I just completed. All of the other people that are in the session were all level 2, and they're about to take their level 2 exam, so they were all considerably better than I was, and they knew that, and I kind of made it very clear that I was, you know, level 1. But they were very accommodating, and it was very interesting to watch them. There was one guy there in particular where he looked way better than level 2 to me. He was very good. He's got a son he was talking about, who I think has got these implant things on his head, which I think are helping him. But I was kind of following the conversation, but you know, it's very difficult. Obviously, he's much higher level than me, so he was very, very good. It was interesting. It's always interesting just to absorb what's going on, and I followed most of the conversations, but there were obviously lots of bits that I didn't follow. We also we played some games. We did some, which of course is difficult with social distancing or whatever, but it was like hangman and things like that, but all related to hearing and sort of the deaf club and signing and all that kind of stuff. And we also did some conversation things. We broke into groups and did some conversation. And the first one I was with, I kind of struggled with that really, and I felt sorry for the lady that I was hooked up with, because you know, she's obviously a much higher level than me, and I was really struggling to work out what she was saying. But then we changed topics and we changed who we were talking to, and I had a really good conversation with somebody, and that sort of boosted my confidence a bit. And we were talking about pets and animals and things, and I love talking about my pets, so that was quite good. But we also went on to talk a bit about work and family and all that kind of stuff. So and that was a conversation that went on for quite a few minutes, and I really felt like I had a proper conversation in BSL with someone, which is great, with someone new that I hadn't met before. So that was great. I really enjoyed that, and that alone, I think, kind of boosted my confidence a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to go home now. That's the session over and done with. I haven't had my results yet for the second 2 exams in year 1, so that is still to come, and now that will no doubt be another part of this video. So catch you in a bit.
It's now several weeks later. In fact, I recorded the last bit of video in July, and it's now September. So it's quite a few weeks have gone by. Now, the results of my exams finally came through on August the 31st, and I'm delighted to report that I have passed with flying colours. Actually, I'm really surprised, but obviously very chuffed. It means I now hold a level 1 award in British Sign Language. So that's great. What an achievement. I'm really, really pleased. So what about the future? What's going to happen next? Well, I am going to attempt to do BSL level 2. Now, I'm recording this on the 14th of September, and the course actually started last week, in the first week of September, but I was away on jolly holes, so I couldn't attend the first lesson. So my first lesson for BSL Level 2 will be tomorrow, Wednesday the 15th of September 2021. I'm a little bit nervous because it's a new teacher. She's called Louise, so I'll find out what she's like. There's new people, of course, in the class who I don't know. There's one person in the class who I do know, is Charlie. She was on the course with me last year. I like Charlie, she's great. So it's going to be nice to have somebody there, face that I recognise, but everybody else in the room will be new to me. So, but anyway, the exciting thing is that I'm going to carry on this journey. Now, when I went to that very first that lesson back in July, that was talking about, it was like the workshop, the bit of video that you've just seen, Steffi, my teacher for level 1, was saying that level 1 is a bit like kind of toddler level. It's learning to speak as a kind of, it's baby speak. So level 2 kind of then extends that, it brings it on and brings you up to a much more fluent conversation level, which is really what I want. That's where I want to be. I don't think I could confidently hold a conversation with somebody in BSL at the moment. I would struggle unless it's very specific subject matter. So I'm hoping that this is going to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit, but we'll see. No doubt I will make another video with an update on how BSL Level 2 is going, but I want to finish off this kind of BSL Level 1 series by saying, if you're thinking about learning another language, whether it's a spoken language or whether it's a sign language, whether it's British Sign Language or say American Sign Language, if you're in the States or Australian or wherever it may be, then give it a go. Why not? Even if you're a little bit on the older side like myself, you can do it. You can do these things. Just have the confidence, which is something I need to tell myself. Have the confidence in your abilities. As Ted Lasso would say, believe. And just do it. Just have a go. It's great fun, and you never know where you could go with it, where you could take it. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and there will be an update, I'm sure, at a future time to tell you how BSL Level 2 is going. Thanks so much for watching.